My name is Evan. I'm an American. I'm living in Paris at the moment. I'm an artist. I'm going to show some of my pieces and projects today, with hopefully a connecting theme being this relationship between hacking and the arts, and also looking at the internet as an exciting new audience for making stuff. This is the entire Straight Outta Compton album, edited down to just the pieces that couldn't be aired on the radio. Another piece in this series is called TSA Communication. It's also very simple, and this is probably self-evident, but the idea is that you have a thought that you'd like to communicate with the airport security screeners, and you cut that into metal, and then put it in your backpack, and then send it through the X-ray, and yeah. In my head it looks like this. I think we all are familiar with the term hack. There's many definitions. I like to think of the hack as a clever, playful intervention into an existing system, one that kind of subverts that system and changes its original intended purpose and has a sort of power-flipping orientation to it. And when I incorporate the hacks into my work. Sometimes those are technical and involve code. This one is called Badass Motherfucker. And so I think for the last like 6 years now, if you Google Badass Motherfucker and hit I'm Feeling Lucky, it will take you to my website. And so there's small pieces of code involved in that. There's not much. It's just pretty simple search engine optimization. But there's also social factors at play too, right? Like a lot of the most interesting hacks have nothing to do with code, and it's all about the social hacking, right? And so, like, one piece of this social hack is that there's not a lot of people that want the word fucker in their title tag and in their H1 tag, especially if you're trying to sell anything. Even for me, like, there's depending on what month it is, sometimes I'm the #1 return for fucker also, which I'm okay with, but the other sort of aspect of the social hack too is it's sort of, one of the intents besides having a cool business card is questioning Google, right? Like if Google thinks I'm the biggest badass motherfucker on the planet, they clearly do not know everything, right? But I see hacks when I look at graffiti, right? It's something we kind of take for granted because graffiti's been around for a while now, but the idea of pointing a spray paint can at someone else's property, this was a hack, right? It was taking an existing structure and changing it into something else. The notion of putting graffiti on subway cars, right? This is using an existing system for something it didn't intend, right? The subway was not built to transport giant paintings to different boroughs around New York, but this is a system that was hacked. And so when I look at graffiti, I'm not as interested in the color schemes and in the can control. I'm interested in its ability to hack existing structures, right? It's more about the placement of where it is rather than how beautiful the letters are. This is another project that involves many Fat Lab members. This is James Powderly, myself, Theo Watson, Zach Lieberman, Chris Segru. There's many more people involved in the project now. The person at the top, this is Tempt1, who is a graffiti writer from Los Angeles who has Lou Gehrig's disease, which is a degenerative muscle disease that leaves you completely paralyzed. So he also is a hacker though. His graffiti crew in the 1990s was the first to exploit the freeway system in LA. 2 teams, and one team was out driving around LA along the freeways trying to find places to project. Another team was in the hospital room with Tempt, and we had a live web stream connecting the two, so that Tempt he had 2 monitors, so he could draw using this software on one monitor and then look at a projector screen behind him and see, he would basically be uploading it to the team in the car, and so it was kind of like allowing him to write graffiti again, right, in semi-real time, where he could be making these characters and then we would be projecting them and he could stream it back real time. The iWriter project has this narrative that involves Tempt, right? I mean, Tempt's story in this thing is the most important one, it's the most interesting story, but there's this secondary story, which is that a group of like 5 art school trained non-professional engineers, non-professional computer developers could get together and in their free time for no money create a system that is getting close to like rivaling what the medically assistive alternative can do, right? And these computers, which once we got to see, because Tent has one of these devices that cost like $50,000, $60,000, and it's just a pretty crappy computer running Windows XP with a series of webcams, right? Like you're not paying for the hardware, you're paying for, they tell you you're paying for the R&D, right? And so beyond Temp's story in here, I like to look at this project as like an example of what open development models can do, right? That we can develop the system that can hopefully bring the price down from like $50,000 to like $200 in a laptop.